The forum is hopefully the first in a series organized by the President's Office to encourage crosstalks and exchange of ideas between researchers of different backgrounds. The President will say a few words to introduce the forum, so let's pass the time to the President.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this virtual forum. As Professor Alfonso Ngan just mentioned, that this is the first Hong Kong U e-forum that we come together with multiple disciplines, professors, students, researchers. We are looking for a solution for grand challenge. As you know that, we live in a world today, last 2 or 3 months, that has been hard hit by the coronaviruses. And many of you have seen worldwide, not only this part of the world, but also Europe, America, all going through a very difficult time. Now, as you can see this, the small sphere is the virus, which is about 10 to the minus 7 meter. How big that is? It's about 1,000th of our hair diameter. Very, very tiny. Same time, it hit the big sphere, our world, mother of the earth, very hard. The earth is about 10 to the 7 meter. So overall, these two entities, about 14 order of magnitude. The impact, however, is huge. As you can see, we are facing the biggest challenge since World War II. Over 200 countries and territories are affected. Over 3 million people are confirmed as having these diseases. And over 200,000 deaths already. And this is increased with time still, as we see more and more going through other parts of the world, South America and Africa. So they present a huge challenge, not only to our healthcare system, but also for our citizens' life around the world. Our hospitals are so crowded. Many patients are going through a very, very tough time, their families. Let me actually begin with a few challenges we are facing in this pandemic. And I hope actually, as an outsider, I'm a layman, a medical scientist, if you can call, actually, that we're looking for the solutions for these grand challenges. Can we develop rapid and low-cost diagnostics tools? Can we develop effective treatment at hospital? You know that many of our patients are in the hospital are based on their immune system, how they actually fight through this coronaviruses by themselves through a very limited technologies. And most important, as a large population protection, that can we develop vaccines? Now, you heard about our medical professors. Later on, our professor will talk about the vaccine development. And it is expected it takes about 1 to 2 years for developing a new vaccine for COVID-19 viruses. Can we accelerate this process? What are the big ideas to accelerate this? Shrink that to half year, 9 months, or even shorter time frame. So we need big ideas. This is actually what we see before our society. This is the other challenge in the society. On the left is a Times Square in New York. Very busy, lively. On the right, this is what we see today. Almost empty street. And this is not only in New York, but also in Hong Kong, everywhere else. That actually, for the first time in last, over a century, we have seen a significant lockdown. 1/3 of population are going through lockdown process right now. People are limited their interaction, confined in their home. That takes not only economic downturn, but also a mental downturn. For example, let me actually go back to our economy now already significantly affected. Many of you know that employment rised up. It is expected by end of second quarter, about 200 million people will lost job. Our families and our students are all affected in this part of the world. How we are going to wait in the lockdown, which is very essential for protection for the public health. But at the same time, how we are going to save our economy. So it is actually a consideration very seriously, not only for politicians, but also for every family. Because we, first and foremost, we want to save lives. But at the same time, we care about livelihood. The other issue, a challenge. This is a picture in Paris. We know that as we go through this quarantine process, and we have to trace the patients or suspects who has this coronavirus in the society to eliminate or block the propagation of such a viruses in the community. And we have to use all the modern technology to trace and provide the surveillance. However, that actually presents a huge challenge between the government measures, which usually is having an impact for individual rights. How we do surveillance with a minimum privacy intrusion. So this actually, again, is a conflicting interest, but at the same time, it's all important. How we balance that. At the same time, we see everybody in the school now going online. That presents a huge opportunity for online education. But at the same time, that actually give us a new challenge in terms of how we are going to define education. Now, if this lockdown or online education continues, our kids, elementary school, high school, and college, has to be going all online. Right now, there are 90% of students are online. What is the role of education and our educator? At the same time, do we still have a campus life? What kind of e-campus life looks like? Because we reduce significantly our students' interaction and also with teachers. So that has to be addressed. But at the same time, one could argue there's a lot of opportunities coming out from online education. For example, now education can be scaled significantly. One teacher can teach 500 students, 1,000 students, even 10,000 students at the same time. But still, we see that is a global challenge. How we do education in such an environment. Especially, it is expected the virus may come back later this year or next year. Social distancing. As we know that this is a very critical practice. Our professors in public health and medicine has been championing for. It's very, very effective for Hong Kong and for the whole world. But that itself presents a challenge. We are become more isolated at home, at your own room, and that actually presents mental health challenge. This morning, I was reading a news that a doctor, actually ER doctor, treating the patient, and she was infected by the coronavirus as well. But fortunately, she came out of that by the treatment, recovered from the virus infection. But unfortunately, the stress and hard work take a toll, and she committed suicide this morning. So it is very heartbreaking. The mental health is the other frontier we have to pay attention. And also in a family where now maybe have a little bit more increased family life because everybody's confined in the room. But at the same time, socially, we're disconnected from each other, from your friends, from your classmates, and so on. That also increased in the society discrimination and racism. And that actually partially because of each country now, in some way, there's a blaming games going around and also protection for each of individual cities and individual towns, individual countries. So the globalization we have been enjoying to see last few decades now face tremendous of challenge as well. How we are going to work as a global citizen, as a team to solve the problem, to develop solutions for such a challenge. And we see already various of, even before this pandemic, the UK exit from the European Union, and Americans first that movement already challenged significantly the globalization. This deglobalization movement will be also present a tremendous challenge for our collective effort, develop vaccines, develop the solutions, and work as a team, as a collective efforts. So how we are going to do it? Well, we know that we have to work together, not only within the university, within Hong Kong, and within the whole world, but also we have to cut across the disciplines, working together as a team. So the grand challenge, not only in this pandemic, but also overall in other parts of the world, such as water, energy, pollution, all of this call for disruptive solutions. So we see somebody develop the solutions. This is a cartoon about President Trump. He actually proposed using UV light, going to the lung and kill the viruses. So this cartoon shows that the light coming from one side of the ear coming out, and they call light out of the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel. Now, however, many people criticize about his science, but I would argue that the boldness he showed, even though scientifically incorrect, could be interesting. So today we come together in Hong Kong U, bring the experts from multiple disciplines, from medicine to public health to engineering and chemistry and education and also economics, to address what are the grand challenges this pandemic brought to us. What are the big questions unanswered? How we're going to work together as a collective team. And this requires the debate, discussion, and inspiration for big ideas today. And I hope this will continue. At Hong Kong U, we enjoy the tremendous of intellectual capital here. And today we're going to show that we exchange the knowledge, we stimulate each other and debate for new solutions, and also we find opportunity to collaborate. And I hope this is the beginning of what we can build on the rich intellectual capitals here in Hong Kong U, and we build a culture of Hong Kong U collaboration. And that is, we come together from different disciplines, we debate, we stimulate each other, and we find solutions. I hope you enjoy the fellowship and stimulating discussions. Thank you.